Brought a whole freaking thing of water in here, about half gone.
Really? I've been sipping on it, huh?
Oh, I was eating pepperoncinis.
Pepperoncinis?
Yeah, I
Dang.
love those things.
I think I've ever had a pepperoni.
You like jalapenos?
Yeah, they're all right. I don't like eating them straight.
Well, I eat these straight, but they're not as hot as jalapeno at all.
Okay.
I mean, they're juicy.
Okay.
It's just like almost big.
Huh. Interesting.
I figure we go a little bit big today.
I see that.
It seems like it's all right, but
jeez. So, guys, everybody out there,
now they're coming in.
Everybody out there in YouTube land. Greg took the monitor that was here, and now we're looking at it now. It's massive. I don't know what is that, like a 32 inch or something?
32.
Yeah, it's a 32-inch monitor. It's pretty sweet, big. And then he's got the other one over here.
Yep.
So we can do
actually look up some products that you guys are mentioning, some other stuff going on. So I figured it'd make it a little easier. Of course, I need glasses.
We got DJ on here. DJ's been
They're
sharing the post.
but
appreciate that. Bass Guy back in the house. Good to see you on there, Bass Guy. Got Bill. So I've been waiting 4 minutes, man. Money is time. We do apologize. We were talking to our guest. We were doing like a pre-show meeting. Yeah, pre-show, and then we got kind of carried away. So he's going to be in here in about 5-10 minutes, something like that.
Dang, here comes the comments.
Here we go.
Oh, Brian's in there.
We got Tom on here.
Mr. BP Fishing, which supporting right back there, dude.
Nice.
That's your card up there. Yeah, if you guys have some your own channels or whatever, you got cards or anything, send them in. We'll put them up here.
Yeah, we'll showcase it behind us. Help you guys out. Got David in here, Jay Basson.
Aaron Wetzel, Mr. I will give you a call back. You called last week, but I was in Kansas City all week long, so apologize for that.
Yeah, did you hear about did you watch any of the Bassmaster Elite, the last one on Lake Fork? You didn't get a chance to watch it.
No.
Did you hear about it at all?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I've been if it hasn't had to do with work or I don't even know what it did this weekend hardly. But that's about it.
Just a blur, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was the last tournament of the year. Patrick Walters won with 104 pounds.
What?
104 pounds. Second place was Keith Combs with 75 pounds.
Jesus.
So he won by almost 30 pounds, set a record, and it's the biggest winning, blowout basically of all times.
Yeah, I would say, Jesus.
I think the prior record was like 15 pounds.
I'm guessing he just got in a big school.
Well,
and just started hammering through.
It was a live scope deal. He was fishing these points at standing timber with a suspending jerkbait, and he was just he was lining up the stumps and seeing the school, the big, not really schools, but single and double fish.
So this brings into the simple fact of whether or not it's going to make a difference.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference. It was unbelievable. I watched it.
I guess if you learn it, it's got to, but I don't know.
We got David Gill in here, 251 Rillings in here. Polly, what's up, Polly? But yeah, so Patrick didn't even need to fish the fourth day. Okay, so he had 82 pounds after the third day. Keith Combs got second after the fourth day, was 75 pounds. So even if Patrick Walters did not fish day 4, he still would have won the tournament by 7 pounds. It's nuts. Unbelievable. I watched it.
I've heard of giving yourself a leeway, but good God.
Yeah, and then Rick Clunn, day 1, Rick Clunn had almost a 30-pound sack, which is unbelievable. He was throwing a big Kong shad, which is it's like a 3.5 size square bill. It's massive. He's been working on it with some Japanese company.
You know what? I want to throw that out there. For you and everybody else. Anybody else in here big on the 2.5s? And the only reason I'm asking is I fished them, don't get me wrong, and I've caught fish on them. But just in my experience, I think I've had 10 times better luck on that 1.5 than that 2.5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't. I've thrown it a little bit, but
I've never seen anywhere that it's outperformed a 1.5.
I think probably in shallow or stained water, maybe, when they need that bigger, they need to be fed something to their lateral line a little bit. But but you saying that, most people do throw 1.5. So that's a reason that the 2.5 would catch more fish in a pressured water, probably.
Yeah, I can see that point.
Yeah, we get used to that 1.5.
Aaron said a circuit board on his trolling motor. That sucks. First spot on Kincaid.
We got Ron in here. What's up, Ron? Ron, I missed you coming in the marina. I think you were back over there by Max. He was out on Egypt today too. So
I need to get over and fish with him one day.
yeah.
I just got to get. I haven't even been doing any fishing. That's the bad part.
Yeah, it's 2021 is going to be better for you.
Oh man,
as far as getting on the water, I hope so.
I hope so. It's terrible this year. Well, not to mention all the boat problems I had. That's
right.
kind of most of it.
You had a lot of crap going on. Yeah, Tom said 9.9 ounce on the big bass.
The King Kong shad. I got to look at it.
Yeah.
See, it's nice. We got it over here.
King Kong shad. It's by some Japanese company.
King Kong. I want to look at King Kong.
That says a 1.5 is good. 2.5 for catfish.
That's a King Kong shad?
Nope. That's not it. It's a square bill. It's a big, like,
wait a minute.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
It's right there. I didn't even know so it's a $20 bait. What's the weight on it? Hit the read more. Let's see what the weight on it is.
Let's see.
It's an ounce and 3/16. So it's got some
That's
weight.
pretty damn heavy.
Yeah, it gets down to 8 to 10 feet.
8.
I didn't even realize
so much for
on the
going to your
market.
shallow water.
Yeah, no kidding. Are those sold out? I'm sure those are probably sold out by now. Nope, they're in stock.
Yeah.
Huh. There you go. It's a big old nasty crank.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know, you need to be around some big fish, and Fork has definitely got them.
Yeah.
Clark Windlet won Angler of the Year, and that was super intense. Okay, so he
See, so Jack Wampler in there, 1.5 is good, 2.5 for the catfish. Yeah, exactly.
Right. What was I getting ready to say? Oh yeah, Clark won Angler of the Year, so congratulations to him. But he had a huge lead going into Chickamauga, which was the second to last tournament, and he failed to catch a fish on the last day, if I remember right. So he was in like 5th place. I think he had like a 70-point lead going into that Chick tournament.
Jeez.
And he blew it. Okay. So he made the day 2 cut in this Fork tournament, and he needed to finish 31st or better to win Angler of the Year. And he was sitting in 30th. In like the last hour and a half, he caught a keeper, but the keeper wasn't big enough to bump him into 29th. So it's kind of like just a flush.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had about an hour left or something. It got super intense, and he caught another small keeper and bumped him up to, I want to say 28th place, maybe 26th. But the thing is he was in the first flight. Okay, so there's a 3 o'clock weigh-in and a 3:20 weigh-in.
45 minutes.
And the guys that were right below him had an extra 20 minutes, plus, the run time. If they didn't have a long run, they had even more. So that whole like last 30 minutes of the tournament was pretty intense. But he ended up pulling it off. So
got lucky there. Did they say what his average fish was for that 100 and whatever was 112 or 112 pounds? What was that?
Oh, it was 104 pounds.
104?
Yeah.
Did they give an average weight?
I don't know, man, but it was all 20-pound sacks, obviously. I think day 4 was maybe his lightest weight, but he had some 24, maybe 26-pound sacks.
Jesus.
He had a lot of like 7 and 8 pounders mixed in there, 9 pounders.
Nuts.
Yeah, on a jerk bait.
Yeah,
it was crazy. And some of them were barely hooked on the lip, just skin hooked. Some of them on the outside of the head. But he got them. I think he got them all in.
Yeah, I seen Ron on here a minute ago. He posted he was fishing all week in shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, David says Striking's got a 4.0 square bill.
Yeah, the 4.0.
I think I have seen that actually. On I think it was somebody was doing a video on it. I don't remember who that was though.
I think it's basically like a 10XD with a square bill on it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I caught some. Caught a lot of shorts today over there at Egypt. It was fun though. I had a good time. I that little boat that I got hit so hard to hold out in the wind.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Trolling motor on like 7 just to hold there, and so DJ says he saw the highlights from Fishing Friday. My boat tied to the dock. Picture of the boat ride and sporting a THM shirt. Yeah, you look good, man.
There you go.
I thought it was your.
Yeah. Now I've got one to wear.
Yeah, I brought him up one. So, and I got some more, guys. If you're interested in getting I got about 2 dozen of these left. So I'm selling them. If you want one, let me know. I've got the gray color and I've got the jade color. So hit me up on Gabe Montgomery Fishing or Tin Horse Monty Fishing, or hit me up on Instagram, Tin Horse
I think if you buy the last one, it's like $125, right?
Yeah, I won't
So
sell
you
the
want
last
to,
one.
so you want to get in there before you get that $125.
That's right. Water temp at Lake of Egypt was, Ron, what was it? It was, I want to say it was like 62 to 64, if I remember right. So needs a double X in gray. Bass Guy, I'm out of double X, man. I kind of needed to order some extras of different sizes. I went heavy on the largest and the extra large. All the smalls and mediums, double X and triple X were sold out like really, really quick. So after I sell this batch, and if I do decide to get some more, I will definitely do kind of a pre-order thing so I can get some of the double X and triple X. So we're down to just larges and extra larges.
Yep. But
they're nice shirts. I mean, they fit really well.
Well,
you want to get Mike in here?
Yeah.
He's sitting there in the background.
I seen Sleep with the Reel just showed up.
Oh, Sleep with the Reel, cool.
Yeah.
Well,
he was talking about his.
What's he saying? What's up, guys?
Crappie fishing.
Battle of the Boats. Toyota Master tournament at Lake Fork. I think they caught more fish than I did. Yeah.
That's what you get for crappie fishing. You should have been bass fishing.
I ran into a couple crappie guys out there today. They were catching a few.
62 to 63 up front and 60 in the mid.
Okay. That's about what I was thinking. Yeah.
Catch me mid-pour.
Mid-pour. We did. The man, the myth, the legend, the gunslinger.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
What's up, dude? Good to see you.
Not much, man.
Yeah.
Good to be on with y'all. Yeah.
I'll try something here. Hang on just a second.
Roger that.
Oh, it didn't make
Is it too dark? Do I need to turn a light on or something?
Oh, you're good.
All right.
Good. He was just trying to do the split, mess around with the split.
I thought it'd make you bigger.
I'll pop up.
Yeah.
What's been going on, man? You made it back from
yeah, man. It was a long haul back. It was a rough few days.
Just your cat walk through.
Yeah.
3 foot tall cat.
Just I don't know if either one of you've ever fished Truman. I think you have, Gabe. You went down there with us as a state team.
A couple times, yeah.
Yeah, it's flooded timber galore. So it's especially where we took out of Bucksaw way up the Grand Arm. So up at the 23 mile mark up the, it's got two big arms and one smaller arm.
So tell the folks at home where you just got back from and how it went down and all that. Or
yeah, sure. Well, it was our Anglers in Action Team Championship. I think there was 135 boats. They qualify 45 from each division. Lake of the Ozarks, Table Rock, and Grand are the three divisions that go. Now, sometimes there won't be 45 representatives from Grand or, whatever. If somebody can't go, they usually start going down the list then of guys that fished all four tournaments and letting some people in that way. If somebody chooses not to get in, just to fill the field and get the pot up a little bit. But me and Greg finished in 11th, so we were in either way. But even like Marcus, I think him and Bill finished real high, but they didn't come. I don't know. They probably had prior obligations or whatever. So if one of those teams drop out, they usually let somebody else if they want to come. So, but they go in order, whoever was in 46th on down and see who wants to come. So that was a 2-dayer, and we got down there, I think, on Thursday afternoon. Got on the water about 2. Lake's like 5 foot low. When I put in, since it was 2 in the afternoon, the water was like 56 degrees and pretty muddy up there by the Bucksaw Marina. That's where we took out of, and that's where we stayed. So we had a really good practice the first day. I mean, in 2 hours, we had 3 nice keepers and several shorts. And it was all doing the exact same thing. So I decided to run up by the dam the next day to a spot I had to get out of my head. It's a spot I've caught them in before, but it's way up past the dam. So it was like 29-mile run or something from where we were. And plus I wanted Greg to see the lake. He's never really been up that arm before and winding out of there and stuff, and I was looking, I knew spots I wanted to look for flats off a channel swing. So I was I hadn't been there in like 10 years, maybe 7 or 8 years, but whatever, been a while. And so I wanted to see, I just followed the creek. Well, you have to up there, but I do that on any lake. The first time I went to Grand Lake 15 years ago, I just put in at the dam and ran the channel all the way to the other end of the lake just to see the whole lake. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it, to know where you might want to fish, because Grand Lake is completely different from one end to the other. Lake of the Ozarks is too. Of course, that takes a commitment in fuel and time to run the length of the Lake of the Ozarks. But so anyway, I did that, and I seen 3 or 4 channel swings that I liked. Went to the spot, definitely got that off my mind. It was like the Dead Sea. We didn't see any bait in there hardly, and no birds and nothing. So I'm glad I did it, so it wouldn't be in the back of my head if things weren't working out during the tournament on Saturday. I would have been tempted to run up there, and it would have been a total waste of time. So then on the way back, we hit a couple of those channel swings and got a couple bites. So day 1, we ran to that spot that Greg caught his biggest one and didn't get bit at all. But I kept thinking, well, man, we were here at 2 p.m. We weren't here at 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:30, whatever it was, by the time we got there. And I said, well, let's go to the other spot that I was showing you. That on the channel swing, there's a little cove that cuts in, and the wind was blowing straight in there. And we proceeded to go in there about, 10 o'clock. We gave that whole area up there a little longer than we probably should have. We got a couple shorts, but we ran down there and we proceeded to get a limit out of that one little spot there by making multiple laps. Because the water was so dirty, and how they were positioned, you almost had to hit them on the head to get them to bite. Mm-hmm. We've seen lots of bait about that big flickering around at the top. And twice when I seen about 3 or 4 of them flickering, and what I was doing, it was a pretty steep bank. And I would lay that bait either right at the edge of the water or on the bank and drag it in, and you'd never feel anything. It was kind of hard because it was steep enough. It should be falling anyway a little bit, but then it would just keep falling and coming towards you, or maybe going sideways. You never felt them bite it and set the hook on them. And every one of those that we caught, for the most part, were keepers. We didn't get a lot of bites. Like I said, we really had to grind. We had to make, and it's so much flooded timber. What you had to do is, because the wind was blowing in there pretty good, you had to I would just run down it with a spinner bait with a trolling motor on, just a constant speed, weaving in and out of the timber, get to the other end, and then come back against the wind and flip the bank real slow, and then go back and do the other side. Plus, there was a kayak turn. What's that now? What size do the fish have to be? What's a keeper there? 15. 15. Okay. And I think our smallest was 16 and a half or so. So we had a pretty deep, we had 1350 on day 1. When we weighed in, we were in 2nd place, but by the time it was all said and done, we ended up in 10th. But only a few pounds behind the leader, like 3 pounds behind the leader. So definitely in striking distance. Went back the next morning, and there was a guy in there, the guy that had seen us in there and then knew that we had caught a limit. He was already in there. We didn't catch any fish in there, so we punted and went back to where we started the day before. Didn't get any fish there, and then I just started running like all those channel swings that we seen, and finally we hit on one about 30 minutes left to go in the tournament and caught 3 like in 10 minutes, and we're able to weigh I think we weighed 6 or 7 pounds. Didn't get our limit. We only had 3. And ended up in 18th. So we got a check, and the guys that won it, I think they had 29 pounds total. We had 19 something like that. I forget exactly, but they caught all theirs on similar type banks on square bills. They were doing kind of like bluff ends with a square bill in that timber up real shallow, I would imagine. They didn't say that, and another guy that did well was getting back in some of those flats, like what I was fishing initially, where we went the first morning but didn't get bit. And he said he was literally setting his power poles down and just hitting every tree, picking up and moving up and setting them down and doing it again, hitting every, trying to bounce it off every tree. And that's how they got their bites.
Wow. So your fish were on the bank for the most part?
I mean, right on the bank. Yeah. But it was my boat was, not even at times it was right on the bank because you had to pick a tree to go around. So you had to be right on the bank. Reach out and touch the bank with your rod kind of thing. But you had to sometimes with the trees. But most of the time I was trying to stay back as far as the trees would let me. Because the other thing you don't want to do is hook a big one up there and then try to bring him through all those trees. It ain't happening. So you got to be kind of up on top of them. You know what I'm saying? There's so many trees in the water. Like I said, I think it was 3.5 or 4 foot low. So all the trees were out of the water. There's a lot of them you couldn't go over anymore. You had to go around or through, or just couldn't get in that area tight. So if you hooked one, you're going to have to get them in a hurry. So you wanted to be as close to them as you could when you hooked them. Because
you didn't have a shaky head out there.
No shaky head for me. But I will say I caught all mine on the second day on a spinnerbait. I just, when I panic and time's running out, I pick up a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait and start slinging it. And I didn't care if I had to drag it. I had 20-pound test on there, and I was going to just grind them and drag them as hard as I could and try to get them to me one way or the other, or let them wrap up and try to go get them. At that point, I didn't have any fish. I was just desperate. And I figured, well, I better start covering some water, because I was fishing areas that I hadn't practiced on at all. Just look right. And it had to be, I would have went back. Well, we did go back in the place we caught him the first day, but the wind was blowing straight in there at 20 miles an hour. And you just could, you even if you got a bite, I don't know if you'd have felt it. And you were constantly getting hung up on it. It was just frustrating. It was just, I felt like I was wasting my time. I was just frustrated. And I knew that other dude had been in there. Turns out he caught a limit out of there that morning.
Yeah.
It ended up finishing one place ahead of us. So,
well, how's the grass lake been for you here lately? I haven't seen any of them. So,
who, for me?
Yeah, I'll say I haven't seen any water except for my pond in the backyard, and it's shut down. It's not producing anything right now.
Well, we fished a tournament a couple weeks ago over there at Cedar and had a great day. It's amazing over there at Cedar. They got that slot limit, so it's 14 to 18-inch slot limit. And there's guys over there that they pretty much top 3 every time. They got it figured out. I'm kind of hit and miss, but I'm typically catch in these tournaments. I catch a lot of like 17.5 to 17 3/4 inch fish, which are 3-pound fish.
Yeah,
3 to
keepers,
3 to 3 1/4 pound fish. So you throw them back a 15, 16 pound limit, on a 5-fish tournament, if it was a 15 inch fish. But it's kind of, you really got to move around still. They're not in every area for sure. And even in a certain area, they're not biting every day, because I've been back to some of those areas since, and it'll be dead. So you've got to have multiple areas, and you got to be able to check them at different times of the day. And you got to have a couple presentations, that tournament, they were hitting the toad really good in the morning, actually for the first 3 or 4 hours or so, but they wouldn't hit a punch rig at all. So they were sitting right up under the mat. That punch rig was going past them unless you hit them right on the head. But as the day wore on, they kind of slid down a little bit deeper, and then they wouldn't come up for that toad or that frog.
I'm guessing because they're up under that mat early, because that water was warmer. And then as the sun came out or whatever, they slid down a little bit.
They slid down a little bit. And then it's also in finding the right, the grass is kind of starting to die right now slowly. So there's some stuff that's noticeably greener, crisper still. I mean, it's not brown, but you can tell a little bit of a color difference.
A little more life to it.
Yeah. And it seems like they were wanting, they're wanting to be in smaller sections of the grass too. Not a whole like 100-yard stretch of mats. Sometimes if you can find those little, like a little 20-yard stretch of grass of a mat or something, it seems like, that's good for one fish. It's also easier to target. I mean, you're looking at grass. It's like, geez, where do you start?
Yeah.
So these little smaller sections of mats are a little bit easier to tackle.
Well, hey, it's no different than all that flooded timber at Truman, right? It all looks awesome, and there's probably fish in all of it, but they're not all ready to bite. That was my theory on, like I say that, we were in an area, but we didn't catch them in like a small area. It was all over that little cove. You know what I'm saying? And it was just, my theory was they're out, there's plenty of shad up shallow, and they're just suspended out in those trees, and it's going to be hard to get one of those suspending in the trees to bite, or even getting a bait in front of them with the water so dark. The only ones that I think you could catch is when they actively decided to go up and feed. So you had to just either, we didn't have, if I'd had 3 spots like that, I'd have went and done I'd have rotated like you were saying. Mm-hmm. But it was game day and I didn't have any other spots. And it was a small enough area. I felt like if I came in there and seen a boat, I probably wouldn't even go in there. So I was just trying to stay in there and grind it out because I knew there was keeper fish in there, So when that didn't work on the second day, that's when I just had to take off and go looking for something. And like I said, once the wind got to a certain, you had to look for something that was halfway protected, or you just weren't going to be able to fish it.
Yeah. So I was down at Lake of the Ozarks a couple weeks ago. The wind was terrible.
Yeah. When the wind gets up anywhere, it makes it tough. And think about this. That's why the pitching up shallow, when you start trying to throw a bait around in that with a bunch of stobs that are sticking out of the water 2 feet and some that are full trees, and you're trying to get it close to one, how many times you think you get your line over that?
Yeah.
And get caught, so the wind blows your bait, and then so it's just, and maneuvering around in there is tough. When you get hung up, it's a pain to get to your bait to try to get it loose. You can't just drive over to it. You might have to go around and pass your rod around a couple of trees just to get over to it when the water's down like that. So
that's easy to do when it's windy.
Yeah, it would have been, like I said, when it's at full pool, it's a lot easier because a lot of those you can just go right over the top of them. But
so we got 3 people on here. First of all, shout out to Sippy Sports Show. Thanks for stopping by and checking us out, man. Really appreciate that. But we got 3 guys on here that said they were catching them the same way, super shallow. Tom was saying a friend of his was bank fishing, and he was the only one that caught a fish between the 3 of them, and it was right on the bank. So apparently,
I think that's what they do this time of year when it's they move up there to feed. They don't stay up shallow like that all day. But I think they move up there when it's time to eat and then move back. It's not like they're just hanging out up there.
We've been blowing leaves at the pond and stuff. You'll see a bunch of them smaller ones up shallow. They're just sitting. They're in 2 inches of water, and then they'll scatter off as soon as you go by, but they'll be right back up there coming as later. But
yeah.
So you got a new nickname. DJ says M squared. I like that.
Nice. I like that too. I think Edwin Evers has got it already, but his is E squared.
It's a different initial though, so it's okay.
That's true. That's true. I haven't made like $5 million or whatever the hell that Edwin's made just in earnings, right? He's one of the up there in the top 5 or 6, I think.
Yeah,
as far as tournament earnings, yeah.
He's got a good YouTube channel too.
He does.
That's well made stuff. It's pretty impressive.
Is it more? Do you? I still think Pollinix is the most impressive production wise. I really do.
He puts a lot of time in that.
Well, he's got a full-time guy with him that does it and follows. They usually get a local to take him out in the boat so he can film from another boat and all that.
Yeah, some of that 4K footage, slow-mo stuff where the fish are jumping out of the water.
It helps when GoPro's your sponsor for sure. Yeah, you got a drone and a professional mixer. But that being said, you of all people know exactly how much work has to go into that. I mean, you're editing from 2 cameras. Imagine having to edit out of 7 or 8 or 9, and plus the drone. It's like holy cow.
Yeah,
plus, plus he's got a regular camera when he's filming from the other boat, I think too. So
yeah,
that's a production.
You can't do that and be a professional fisherman. You got to have a team that's doing that stuff on the side. You're talking one of his videos is probably 30 hours.
At least. But think about this. What better way to, as a professional, to pitch to your sponsors how much exposure you're going to get them than to show them a couple of his videos, and the amount of viewers and subscribers that he has. So that's smart. But he doesn't necessarily have to cash checks to eat.
Right.
Once he started making money, that was a wise investment on his part to hire somebody and do all that. Kind of got out ahead of everybody else. Kind of forced everybody else to have to do it too, right? For the most part, the old timers aren't. I don't see Denny Brower doing it anytime soon or anything. But
like I said, I think Scott Martin would be the first one I think that ever did it. But
absolutely, yeah. Well,
he's got
he's got a
or tells that kid's name.
Yeah, spinner worm and. I can't remember his coach that fishes with him. I haven't watched him in a long time. Yeah, Billy Bad.
I'll be honest, I like Scott's, but they get monotonous. There's a lot more of the shenanigans around the house and stuff. Yeah. But I guess it's just because he's Scott Martin. He's so much like his dad, even though I'm sure he probably hate to hear that. But
yeah, David said he too really goes over computer map work. And that's pretty nice. I like the map work when they, put the map on there and they show you what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Fishing was saying BMP's videos series are next level.
Mhm.
BMP.
Brandon Michael Polinick, I think.
Or somebody else.
Todd Castledine. I've been digging some of his stuff too. It's more, it's a lot more raw. It's definitely raw. A lot of it's just him talking about how he's preparing for tournaments, like his day one practice and day two, what he's looking for, why he stopped at the spot.
Yeah, I agree. That is a good one.
It's pretty cool.
You know what I really like, just because it's different than the rest, is Boats and Pros. I really like, and kind of hearing about those guys' background and how they got into fishing.
Yeah. I agree with Tipo down here about Scott's videos were a lot better at the beginning. Yeah, I watched.
They got tired. That's kind of what I thought. He didn't really change it up much.
He started selling like men's beauty products, and shower gels and aftershave, and
where in the beginning he was kind of showing you how to put epoxy and make your rattling baits quiet, or add extra bead.
Right.
He was doing all kinds of stuff like that in the beginning, and then it got more about him going around trying to wake people up. It became like a reality show more than a fishing show, which is why I like Duncan's. He interviews, like the one with Jason Christie was out of sight when he's talking about his brother and his uncle and everybody, dad, getting him into fishing. And I don't know, I like hearing those guys' past. It's those guys. A lot of those guys didn't get anything handed to them.
No,
I mean, remember what G was saying at the thing with his nephew wanting information from his uncle Gerald, and he's like, "No, dude, you got to pay your dues. That's the only way you're going to learn. As soon as you get out of high school and college, and you try to come out here, you're going to get your ass handed to you because ain't nobody giving you anything."
No,
Uncle G ain't helping you in a tournament. He's fishing with you. That's. I don't. That's what I try to tell that high school bass fishing team I work with. You just got to give them the information, not blue dots. You got to try to talk about exactly what we're talking about and what you guys talk about on here on Monday nights, is how to go find them yourself.
You got a visitor behind you.
There's the 6th grade cat right there.
Very, very sneaky.
The funny part is they don't think that can be seen.
She's out.
She's crawl underneath the camera, but it's all the way to the floor.
Great. Yeah, fishing is. I was actually thinking about this on the way up. It's 75% mental. Back to what you're talking about with the high school deal. It's so much about finding the fish. It is just about finding the fish. You do it, the more you realize it, and it's.
Then you can catch them your favorite way usually.
Yeah, or you can, if you find a good area, you can slow down and figure out how to get a few bites. Typically,
Yeah.
But gosh, it's finding that area is what takes the most time. That's the part that just comes from being on the water over and over and over.
It does, and it comes from doing your homework. I hadn't been on that lake in, like I said, 7 to 10 years. I don't remember exactly when, but might even been longer than that. But I did all the spots that I caught my fish in the tournament. Even the one that we caught those in the last few minutes were spots I had picked out on Google Earth when I knew where we were taking out, because I knew I am not going to run far. Remember, I told you that last time when we were talking that I got a new boat that'll run far. I feel like I need to. Hell, I got to win that boat by not going anywhere and just concentrating on a few miles wherever the hell the takeoff is. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you put it at Bucksaw or long, wherever you put it. I'm just going to really, really bear down within 5 or 6 miles. Now, if that doesn't work at all in practice, well, then you might have to punt and fish some history way up the lake or something. But I had those spots picked out on Google Earth. That spot we caught them on the first day, and when we caught a couple keepers in that area in practice.
Using Google Earth and everything. Now, a lot of times what I do, and I don't know if you guys do this or not, you go back in the years to see
water levels.
Yep.
Occasionally you'll get a clearer picture or something when there's no wind, and you'll be able to see a hump or a lay down or something. Yeah. It's kind of like taking mental notes when you're fishing, like we were this weekend with the water down. That's why there's a couple spots I seen. I was like, man, that water was 5 foot higher. That right there. There was a weird rock formation that was kind of like almost looked like somebody put it there, but they didn't. But I was thinking, man, that water gets over that. that would just be dynamite.
Yeah, you see those like the little rock veins and rock transitions and stuff when the water's down there. That when it's
Yeah.
up. And sometimes maybe you've caught a couple fish in that area. Makes sense. That's
Yeah. We had one spot, Gabe, that was like a muddy clay kind of pea gravelly, nothing, but there was like this shale looking rock, just a vein of it that was still exposed. That either it was a higher spot to begin with, or it just hadn't silted there, whatever the reason. There would have been like a 12, if that water was up because it was a flat, there would have been about a 12-foot section of it that was just like a little highway of rock going up there. So places like that, man, you pay attention to that kind of stuff. And a lot of times, you can look up onto the bank and see something like that and it runs into the water,
Right. We got Trey Harple in here. What's up, Trey? Good to see you.
Yo.
Man, Gatlinburg was fun, Trey. I know Trey was there a couple weeks before me, and we actually were messaging each other a couple times. I was trying to get some good.
Yeah, Trey had some awesome pictures.
Yeah, man, he had some great hikes. So it was beautiful down there. The leaves were just perfect. The rivers they had a good flow to them. It was beautiful. Other than all the people, man, there's unbelievable amount of people down there, even in the off season. It takes you about an hour to get through Gatlinburg.
People are tired of being locked in their house, dude.
And it's a lot of people.
It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse. But
here's I'm going to put this push up here, Mike. I know we kind of covered this, I think, the last time you were on, talking about, a lake sustaining itself, especially look at the Ozarks, as big as it is and everything else, and the pressure from all the people being down there from, pretty much everything in 2020 that's been going on.
All the tournaments.
Yeah, we had so many tournaments and the added pressure because everybody was wanting to get out of the house. And
yeah, I don't think any of us know the answer for sure. I say Mother Nature's a lot stronger than you give it credit for. I mean, it might be harder to catch fish. I think they'll still be there. As far as catch and release goes, I don't know. Is there a lot of people putting a knife to them? Because I don't know that the mortality rate in tournaments is.
There's a lot of
I can tell you, if you put a picture of one getting cut up on Facebook, they will never hear the
They'll light you up.
They will. You will.
Well, that being said, if you have a pond like what you got, Greg, you got to eat some of them. You got to take some of them out of there.
And I've talked to several people. Matter of fact, Hirsch that we had on,
The conservation guy?
Yeah, I can't think of his first name. Even he said too, if you don't take them enough out of there a year, it's going to stunt your growth of everything.
Yeah.
The first guy I talked to, he told me, talking to him when we first took this place over, every bass on our pond was 8 and 9 inches. There was nothing bigger, nothing smaller. And
they got to get eaten.
Yeah, he told me, he said, take 150 out the first year.
Sean
Hirsch. Yeah. And I took 150 out the first year, and the next year I think he told me to take out about 80. And then from there on after, he said every year, he said it's about a 1 acre pond. He said take anywhere from about 30 to 35 of them out and just make sure they're in that same size range to where you're getting consistent sizes at. And that's what we've been doing. And I've been growing some pretty good bass in there. So
do you have plenty of cover in it?
Yes. Yeah, we put somebody I know, actually, he has like a fruit stand, and every year he does Christmas trees for sale. Whatever he's got left over, he tells me, come get whatever you want. So I'll make a couple brush piles. They last about 2 years.
Yeah.
But I put them in. I put logs in there, some other stuff. But
yeah. I had a friend one time. They had a pond that was basically a swimming pool. I mean, it was bigger than that. It was a half an acre or maybe even 3/4. But they just dug a pond, and there was no shoreline cover. There was nothing, and they wondered why their fish were not getting big. And I'm like, well, think about it. They burn as many calories as they take in chasing bait down. They don't have any place to ambush it from. Mm-hmm. You got to have some way for them to not, just chase bait all day. They have to ambush that stuff.
And you got to have places for that bait to hide. So
it can survive. Yeah.
Use too.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. They think you put little cedar trees in there for bass, but it's not for bass. It's for the bait fish.
Yeah.
That's what's eat and hide. It's the bass don't care about them too much.
Plus that grows a little algae on it, gives them little fish something to eat on. And they don't have to venture out to eat off the bottom where they're going to get smoked.
Yeah, and I think one big thing I've noticed, and even Sean Hirsch said it on here too. You know, you look at a lay down that's laid down at 45 degrees or whatever. You know, compared to standing timber, and I can tell you, 2 years ago I put 5 big cedar posts, all in kind of a little section. I thought, well, that'd be good for the bluegill and crappie to hang around and everything. I think I've caught 1 bass by it.
Yeah,
They're all standing straight up and down, but every other one I've got laid down sideways, they're all over that.
Yeah, well, they can change depths just real easy.
Right. Yep.
Now, like standing timber, that are cedar trees, like at Truman, they got all those arms sticking off of them. You know,
Yeah,
it's not just a pole, so that's a whole different ball game too. They can tuck right up underneath one of those branches.
Yeah, kayak fishing. There's no catch and release in deer hunting. It's just
Yeah, and
yeah.
I counted a minimum of 35 between St. Louis and Bucksaw on Thursday on the side of the road. And that's when I decided to start counting, because we'd probably seen several before that. They were just dead everywhere on the road. So not only the deer hunters, but the cars are getting their share too.
Yep, I saw a lot of roadkill on the way down to Gatlinburg too. We got hellabass in here from me and Mike's favorite lake, Pickwick.
Nice.
Yeah, you guys killed it there, didn't you?
Yeah, we got killed there. It was fun.
Our soul is still in Pickwick.
We're about 10 years away from lighting it up down there. We just keep going. We don't. Man, Rich, it's going good for you down there, buddy. You got a little bit better time frame than we did.
I was going to say, with the order he had put in, I mean, surely he's catching something down there.
Oh yeah, he's got a ton of crankbaits now. He was on. He had Debate Man on his live stream mic, and they were just going. He had an open window on Tackle Warehouse, and they were just ordering stuff. So he's very well prepared. I'm sure.
We need to do that. You just bring your credit card up.
Okay.
Well,
I was thinking the other way around.
Yeah.
I don't need any stuff. I have nowhere to put my little John boat. I've been adding since we're transitioning into the fall. I've been putting extra stuff, and I can't even get in my stuff. It's just it's ridiculous. Today when I got off the lake, I'm like, I looked in there and I'm like, I got to take half this crap out.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, I got a blade bait box, and I got a spoon box, and I got my Lucky Craft 78s and my little shad wraps and my little smaller jerk baits in one box. And then I got my bigger stuff. You know, I got the 6 cents, the Mega Bass, all the bigger jerk baits. And that's just the main ones I use. You know, I've got, you know how it is. I got boxes of jerk baits they're not my go-to ones. And then I got some mixed crankbait boxes. And
my jerk baits are that's something I'm going to replenish this year. Yeah, I think I am going to go back. I think I'm going to order a couple more of the Vision 110s, but I'm going to get the +2s because there's a couple spots I really want to go.
Yeah, it's so sad. Like I have 4 jerkbait boxes, and then I have 2 smaller jerkbait boxes with old Smithwick Rogues and Rapala stick baits, old ones from when I was a kid. And the other day I came across one of those loose shopping bags. I was like, "What's in here?" And I opened it up, and there was probably 10 Mega Bass jerkbaits still in the package, 3 or 4 duos, a couple Strike Kings, a couple of those Googans. We bought those on the way down to Table Rock that time. And they're still just because I've got so many of them in my boat already. And I swear, in hindsight, for this tournament, because getting over those trees was such a pain in the ass, we should have just took everything out of the boat, but square bill spinnerbait and jigs, and just because that's what we were going to do, and just got rid of all that extra weight. I mean, I remember fishing when I fished as a co-angler with Marcus one time. He literally had I think 3 or 4 rods in his boat, a box of jerk baits, a couple some tools or whatever, a couple jigs, and that was all that was in his boat, period.
Yeah. See, I buy stuff all the time. I lose it constantly. I lose it faster than I can. I'm not going to say faster than I can buy it.
You know, it was one of those weekends for me, and all that timber, I fished with the same jig all day long on Saturday and Sunday. I never lost a jig on Saturday and Sunday. I lost a square bill or 2, but I never lost a jig. Yeah,
Trey says get some lithiums. Yeah. They got a second mortgage on the house. They forward all them for the boat.
I got hey, by the way, that did fix my problem. I put those 2 AGMs in series. I ended up putting them in there. And I don't know if we were talking about if I was worried about how they would charge or whatever. The guys at the fishing hole took care of it. They put this, I think he called it was a Boss fuse regulator in front of where it's going from the alternator and from the battery charger. So it senses when one's full, and then the charge kicks onto the other one. So now I got a big old 31 series Odyssey AGM, and then that Interstate AGM behind it. So I got one giant capacity 12-volt system, and I tested it on practice day. I turned everything on. I turned lights on. I turned, that kind of turned. So and then during the tournament, we're running the live wells and kept the graphs on, and I never got a low voltage. So granted, I just added an extra 85 pounds to the back of my boat, but that's better than.
Joe Mark's on here. What's up, Joe? Good to see you on here. Joe's the guy that came up with the logo on the shirts and the decals.
Oh, yeah. Nice work. Nice work.
You moved over, and that thing's like a beacon light back here.
Very sheeny. It's got that glossy.
Yeah.
So kayak fishing said he was talking about social media posts as far as the deer kills. People getting, I guess, upset about that.
Oh, that don't surprise me.
I know. I know if you.
That's not the real world kayak fishing. That's a bunch of people that don't leave their computer.
Well, if you have, I've seen several pictures of guys that have a bunch of nice big bass on a stringer, farm pond fish, and people get pretty upset about that.
But like we just talked about a while ago, if you don't take them out.
Well, that's what Whitewell was saying right there. He says, "Hey, Gabe, actually, where was that at? Who was that? Was it Hank? Somebody said something about you've got to. Oh, he's right here.
Whitewell.
Yeah,
up higher. He was talking to Chico.
Yeah, he says there's a lot more catch and release practice now compared to years, and if anything, there's probably too much catch and release in larger reservoirs.
Yeah.
And that's
I'd agree with it.
That's probably true now. Now, a small pond, say something a 50-acre lake, 65-acre lake, like Lake Gerardo or Perry County or something. You start keeping a lot of 3 to 5 pound bass out of there. Say you have a season or two where people keep 100 a year, 50 a year. It will definitely hurt it. But if you got a 30, 40,000 acre reservoir, that's just a drop in the bucket on that. It's not going to hurt anything.
Yeah, it's not.
I will get your number. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you can decimate a small body of water.
Hey, Chris Gates, any jerkbaits you recommend at Lake of the Ozarks? Trey will tell you it's the real duals. The dual Rias, either the 3-hook or the 2-hook, and let Trey paint them white with a chartreuse belly. That's my favorite jerkbait at Lake of the Ozarks.
I like it.
Yeah, Trey Harple's on here. He custom paints lures. So if you want to look him up on Facebook, you can get with him, and he does pretty good work.
Can't go wrong with the Megabass 110, obviously. Either one of those. But the Duo Rias is cheaper, and I like the action. It's just different than what other people are throwing. So, and they're tougher. You can bang them off of docks and stuff, and they don't break or the bills don't come off of them.
I did since my water was down so low, I couldn't tell you how many lures I found in my pond that were still hanging on banks and sticks and stuff.
Nice.
I've got a spook from about probably 3 or 4 years ago. I found the hooks are gone. The spook's fine.
Oh, really? They're disintegrated?
Yeah, the hooks are gone, but the bait looks like it was untouched. I mean, it had like slime on it, but rinsed it off and it looks brand new yet. I'm like,
What kind of bait was it, Greg?
A spook.
Spook? Nice.
It was caught. It was actually caught on some. I don't know if I put it in there. There was a window weight that had some real thick rope on it, and it was caught on that.
That's funny.
So Chico was talking about how the COVID has affected the local bodies of water. There's just been an influx of fishing pressure this year, basically, and not sure how it can sustain itself. Yeah, hopefully, I mean, I'm all for people getting outdoors, 120, but I think next year will be a new year. There's a vaccine now, supposedly. I heard something about it today. It's got,
My nephew works for Johnson & Johnson. He said he's pretty sure they're going to have theirs ready by sometime in December.
Right. So hopefully 2021 will be a lot better year all around. Greg's going to get out in the water more.
I can't get here quick enough.
Hopefully the virus is going to be on the downward swing, hopefully.
Like I said, this year has just been so messed up with the boat, and work has just been crazy stupid. And we're still pretty crazy stupid.
The time you had to fish, your boat was out of commission for the most part. You were without a boat for like 3 months, probably.
Oh, at least,
It was It was a bummer.
And then the 2 times I got to go, that was when I found out the first time the batteries I thought just didn't charge. And the second time the batteries we found out were dead. So yeah, it's been terrible.
Yeah.
Everything's fixed. Everything's going good. Let's just leave it at that. And hopefully this weekend I'll get to go. So
Yeah, kayak. I hear you, dude. I was just saying as well. Trey says fishing is up, camping, biking, hiking, anything outdoors is everybody is out there. And we have a local trail that we hike probably once every couple of weeks, and it was definitely a lot more busy this year.
Oh, hang on. Hello, Bass. Good luck, dude. I know you got to get up early, but good luck.
Okay, yeah. Go bust them, man. Good luck.
Kayak fishing, I wonder if he knew there was a giant kayak championship at Truman on Saturday. We went into that little cove that we caught him in, and there was probably 6 kayaks in the back of it when we got back there.
I think somebody mentioned that right at the very beginning.
Yeah, I didn't know I hadn't had a chance really. I just got home last night, but to go look for their results, if that's posted anywhere, and see how they did.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, the kayaks, man, they're sneaky little dudes.
Oh, I turned around. I never heard them coming. I turned around. There's like a whole flotilla of them coming.
I was fishing at Lake of the Ozarks, and I was, fishing, like I told you earlier, I was fishing the front post of them docks, just flipping back to them and everything else, or running spinnerbait by them or whatever. And I went around the one side of it, and it had like a closet or storage unit on the one side, so you couldn't see through it. And I was just getting ready. I had my pole back, getting ready to make the cast between the 2 docks back there. And it's a good thing I happened to see him. He was back there just right at the back corner of it.
Yeah, and
I felt awful bad hitting with spinnerbait.
They can get anywhere, in 2 inches of water.
Yeah.
They're super stealthy.
Yeah, I told Greg was kind of concerned about all these kayaks are back there. I was like, dude, there is no way they're seeing the same angles and stuff that we are to cast at. They're setting down at water level. We're standing up in a bass boat. We're seeing totally different spots to hit and are able to hit than they are. So I didn't let them. And they're not like a bass boat back there with you got another electronics going, another hydro wave going, another trolling motor going, another big boat displacing water. So there's, like you said, they're so stealthy. It does not bother me one bit to have the kayaks around me at all.
No.
Right.
And every dude I met and spoke to was some of the coolest guys of, just really friendly people. So
yeah,
that's dedicated to dragging your kayak around, paddling your ass off. We seen one guy, he was like, I said, where'd you put in? He goes, oh, I'm staying at the same resort as you guys. And we were like 2 miles from there. I was like, damn, that's a paddle, dude.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'd definitely have to get one of those pedal drive systems. I fished out of kayaks a couple different times, and it's just a lot of work with a paddle.
Oh, yeah, that'd be brutal.
You're always fighting the wind. If you're fighting to fish, your boat's, your kayak starts turning one way, you're trying to straighten it back out. It's
before I did my little video on it, and I've got no interest in going back at one. That was
you need to go fly fishing for trout out of a kayak. With a drop shot rig. That would be
what?
That'd be perfect. Just get it all out of the way in one day.
I would think I would have. Would you want to? Could you still have the paddle with you somewhere and then have the foot system? Like when you wanted to go somewhere, get on that paddle. I think it seems like you could propel yourself a lot faster.
That foot system might be quicker. Yeah, I don't know.
Really? Is it?
2 fins that are working back and forth. I think they're pretty quick.
Really? Huh? I never been in one, but just seemed like kayak paddles.
There's like nowhere to. The one I was on, there was nowhere to put the paddle.
When you
just rested on your lap the whole time.
Yeah, that ain't cool.
No, and then the guy I went with, he was, I thank him for it all the time for taking me and letting me use his kayak and everything. But after we got done, I told him I thought I'd be kind of dry, but I was soaked. And he goes, yeah, you got the bad paddle. He goes, see mine. It's got this little rubber plunger on the end of it. So when you tip it up, that little plunger holds the water from running down the actual pole of it. So yeah, it's just water back and forth. And I was like, hey, you get stuck in a tree in a kayak, there is no break in your line.
Yeah, because you just pull the kayak over to it. Yeah.
You got no.
My trouble is I drink too much coffee. I don't know how I would stand up and pee in my kayak.
Oh, you just go.
Yeah.
It just mixes with the water.
It's warm at first. Yeah.
It dilutes itself. I saw Cheapo had a question here for me. Says,
what is your goal, Tin Horse Monty?
Yeah. So his question is, what is your goal, Tin Horse Money, as a YouTube angler and a small time tournament fisherman? That's a great question.
Calling you small time, man.
My short term goal is to hit 2,000 subs, which I'm getting there close, and just to keep kind of growing the channel, trying to be consistent with it. And I'm doing this. This is just a creative outlet for me, and to try to share. I do the lesser known series where I'm going to some of these lesser known lakes, and the whole purpose of that is to just kind of shed some light on some of these smaller lakes. And if somebody's wanting to go and they have no idea what it looks like, maybe they don't know exactly where it's at, they can watch a little 15-20 minute video and they can see what the lake looks like, what it has to offer. Is it a grass lake? Has it got a lot of rock, a lot of standing timber?
Yeah.
What the lake is about, and that way they can decide, whether they want to go or not.
And not to mention, for somebody like where we live, we have a lot of small towns around us. And I think that's one of the biggest things I look at when you do those lesser known series, is it shines light on all these smaller, like you said, lakes and stuff like that people don't ever hear about or know of. And like you said, it gives them a good look at it and they can see what's in there.
And it's a balance of, I know I've had a couple comments from some of the local guys that are like, shh, don't say anything about that lake. So you're trying to be respectful to the locals, but at the same time, you kind of want to share a little bit with the general public, just because a lot of these lakes, there's nothing out there. You Google them and there's just nothing out there. It's all kind of word of mouth. So at least somebody will have a little bit of a reference. They can go watch a video and they got somewhat of an ideal. Now, I don't always catch them on those lakes, but that's not really my goal. My goal is just to kind of go there and just feel around and kind of, just get a little bit of lay of the land. That way, if somebody wants to use that for a reference, they can. And then the other part of the question was tournaments. I fish the USA Bassin tournaments, which they're very affordable. They're like $60 a boat. It's right in my budget right now. I got 2 kids and a wife and stuff, and then I'm doing some of the BFL stuff. Me and Mike fished the BFLs together this year, and I'm probably going to continue that. And I will eventually work my way over to the boater side. The thing with the boater side is the amount of time that it takes. You need to have, as a co-angler, it's nice to go down and have a day or two to pre-fish, which luckily me and Mike have been able to do that. I've been able to go down there and jump in his boat. But as a boater, you've got to have those 2, 3, 4 days to fish. Co-angler, you don't have to have that. You can just jump in the boat, because a lot of times the guy you're fishing with isn't going to do what you did anyway. But it is nice to just get a feel of the lake. But if you're a boater, you can't go in blind. You can't spend all that.
It's not fair to your co-angler either.
It's not fair to your co-angler too, and you want to have a good ideal. So right now, I just most of my trips are like an hour away. I just don't quite have. I've got enough time to do some of the YouTube channel and some other stuff, but I just don't have enough time to go to Lake of the Ozarks for 3 or 4 days and pre-practice and stuff. But I hope to. I mean, I hope to as the kids get older. They're 12 right now. You figure 18, 19, 20, something like that. I'm trying to stay in shape, trying to eat right, and hopefully
staying home till 25.
No, man, don't kill me, man. But they're getting more self-sufficient, so that's nice. So I see in the future maybe expanding a little bit, and and going from there. So,
yeah, I'm thinking about expanding to that Toyota series next year. That's three tournaments, so it's pricey, and it's I'm going to have to commit a week to 8-9 days to each one of them. So that would mean I'd have to back off on something, whether it was don't do the BFLs or don't do the solo. And I'm trying to get a little help. We got a gal helping me try to get some sponsorship. So to pay for that, I'm guessing those 3 tournaments, not including time off work, is probably with entry fee, gas, hotel, food for those 3 to 4 weeks. I'm ballparking around 10 grand is what it's going to cost me.
That's as much of it as the time is the financial part of it.
And the confidence to think that, I'll probably cash a check on one of these 3 and get my money back. And the reason I'm thinking about it this year is because the 3 lakes it's at, it's Grand, Lake of the Ozarks, and Dardanelle. Not all very, Dardanelle's the farthest at 8 hours. Lake of the Ozarks, I know, and it's 2.5 hours, and I got a place to stay at Greg's. And then Grand's only like 4.5 hours, 5 hours away. So, and I've been there a handful of times too, so I feel confident there. I wouldn't want to start if it was Pickwick, Chickamauga, and somewhere else that I'd never really been. So 3 lakes that I've been on before and had success on all 3. If I'm going to roll the dice, it seems like the right year to try. So,
yeah,
but yeah, that's, and a lot of those guys that make that leap from the Toyotas or the Opens to the big time. There's been a few guys that have did my exact what I'm saying. Start on 3 lakes that they know, and they end up qualifying. And then what the hell do you do? Do you got the $45,000 to jump into the Elite Series? That's just entry fees alone.
Yeah, you don't want to be
and quit your job. I mean, what are you? There's some decisions to be made, and what's crazy about that is usually that happens in like September, and you got till November to make up your mind and get your deposits in. So that'd be quite the conundrum, to be. I mean, it'd be a good position to be in, but there's a few of those Elite Series guys that are out there right now that they've qualified multiple times and never took the, just the timing wasn't right. They didn't go.
Yeah.
And then finally the time was right and they went.
I was listening to Bass Talk Live on the way up here, and they had Chris Jones. He's been a very successful angler, and he's had the opportunity to fish the Elites and the FLW Tour, but he doesn't like. First of all, he made a commitment with his wife and family, and he said that he would not fish either one of those circuits unless he had some financial backing, at least 50%.
You have to
of his fees. And he doesn't like being away from his family for that long.
Nope.
These guys are on the road for a month at a time sometimes. If you go back-to-back tournaments, you're gone from your home for a whole month. That's a long time to be away from your family.
It's a long time to make your wife take care of everything.
That's right. It's
whether it's the furnace going out or whatever, they got to deal with it all. So
you got to work. There's a lot of behind the scenes that you got to work out first before you do something like that.
I can guarantee you I will not be going professional fishing. Only because I don't want to.
Right. You've turned down all your offers. Right?
I'd feel bad for my wife. I just wouldn't do it.
I tell you what, man, it'd be, like I said, it'd be tough to say no, because it's always been a dream of mine, even though I know how difficult it would be and what a freaking gamble it would be if it didn't work out. It could devastate you,
I hear my wife stomping through the house.
I'd do it. I would do it in a heartbeat. It'd be a dream. I would just like to fish. Even I want to say Everstarts, and I want to say Costa, but now it's a Toyota series. Even to do those on a regular basis and move up, I would love to do that. But everything's just got to work out right, and you don't live forever either. There's two sides to that coin.
I mean, I was seriously pursuing it in 2008 or 9 as that was my plan: do the co-angler in the Elite Series, co-angler in the Opens for a couple years, and then go for it at the Open level as a boater. And like I told you guys on one of these live streams before, I realized how much work it was, and I'm like, oh my God. I mean, it's still a dream of mine, but it's like, whew, if you don't have your ducks in a row financially, either personally or Boyd Duckett and got a gazillion dollars to begin with, or, they always say the quickest way to make $1 million bass fishing, start with 2. I mean, that's
yeah.
So, but if things were to line up and you could get the sponsorship, then I would. I'm not getting any younger, man, and it's always been a dream of mine. So, but I always tell the young kids that the kids that I was coaching that if you're going to want to do it before you have a wife, a kid, and a mortgage, and just go for it. Right. You got nothing holding you back, man. I mean, look at Paul and Nick and a couple of those other young guys. They started out with they weren't married, and they just out on the road by themselves with their friends, and it's it's kind of like following the Grateful Dead around or something, right? Except it costs you a little bit more money, but I mean,
chicken noodle soup and grilled cheese sandwiches.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Maybe
man. A lot of ramen noodles, a lot of peanut butter and jellies, and
That's right.
Ugh.
Yeah, you got it.
Literally.
You know, back to the high school age kids and the college age kids. Exactly what you said is exactly true. Before you have other commitments, spend as much time as you can on the water and meet people. You know, don't try to. I've always been stubborn, hard headed. I don't have a mentor, honestly. A lot of guys are lucky enough to have some local guys that they buddied up with.
yeah, an uncle or a dad or whoever. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I didn't hurt your feelings. No, I mean, I hadn't had that.
They would
really,
be hurt if I had any.
I never had that really next level dude that showed me a bunch of stuff. I mean, I got some people that there's some guys on here that have helped me out a lot. Ron comes up, you, Mike. There's several guys, but there's people that are fortunate enough to have an uncle or their dad, just a really kick butt, really good tournament fisherman. They learn really, really fast. They excel. So, I think you're the same way, Mike and Greg too. So we've had to just go out and
absolutely
learn, and it's a learning curve. So back to what I was saying is if you're young, don't be hard headed and try to go out there and learn it all yourself. If you have the ability to network and find other people that will kind of take you under your wing and show you some stuff.
Absolutely.
Man, you can knock years and years and years of learning. It's great. YouTube is amazing. We have all that years ago. We didn't have any of that.
Now you're making it sound really old.
You can, that's not that long ago. Even 5-6 years ago, things are totally different. New technique coming out. There's somebody that's got a video on it. You can live streaming. You can see the pros doing that. So the basics of that. You can see the gear. You can figure out what you need to buy to go make that happen. But you still have to go out and locate the fish, and you still have to figure that out.
That's the part you want to learn on your own.
That's the part you want to learn on your own. But people along the way can tell you what to look for. And you can go out with people and they can show you what to do. And then you go do that in a different section of the lake or on a different lake. Can you go do the same thing on a different lake and when it's all brand new? That's the part of fishing that is mental. And that's
the part that's addicting to me anyway.
It's awesome. Man.
It's the most rewarding part about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you were saying if you had a dad or an uncle or a grandpa or whoever, but that uncle needs to be Uncle Gerald that knows the cutoff point, that like, no, I'll help you to a certain point, but the rest you got to figure out on your own. Because if Uncle Gerald helps you all the way and points to the fish, he's not really doing you any good. Because Uncle Gerald's not always going to be around.
You're not around fish, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Well,
you've got to learn how to figure out how to get around them and get around the right fish.
You might be really good on that one lake, but can you transfer that to other lakes? And that's what separates the amateurs from the true professionals, is being able to go onto a brand new body of water and in 3 to 4 days of practice have a pretty good idea of what's going on in that water and be in contention to catch a check. They're working. That is their job. When I go out, I got the YouTube channel in the background. I've got just the release of 45 hours of work and then family. It's kind of meditative being out there in the water. So I've got just the pure joy of fishing.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to pre-fish for a tournament, you're also in the back of your mind, you're trying to locate stuff. The pros, they're going out there to work. Their main focus is to find the fish. And, they're not fun fishing. I'm doing a little bit of fun fishing, a little bit of getting away from everything. And so,
I honestly do very little fun fishing, very, very little. Just about every time I hit the water, it's trying to figure something out. Another thing, Gabe, is do what you're doing, fish to co-angler stuff, or even a small boater tournaments, and make friends that you can trust and pick their brains. And, there's stuff to be learned from everybody, even if it's what not to do.
Don't go talk to the guy that's lost 5-pounders all day long.
Yeah. If I hear people making excuses, then that person's out. Mental, like you said, you got to be positive.
Everybody's got bad days in the water.
But it's still not horrible. You got all your limbs and whatnot. So always keep it fun, but always be learning and listening to other people, and fishing team tournaments with a good partner. Me and Gabe, me and Greg, me and my buddy Dave Holm used to fish together all the time, even if we weren't tournament fishing. And we were constantly asking each other, what do you think's going on? I don't know. What do you think's going on? I never thought of that. Oh yeah, it could be what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg's really good about doing that to me. Like, what do you think? And I'm like, well, what do you think? And I'm like this weekend, I said, I think they're hanging in these trees and they're just coming up here to eat, and we just got to be here when they do. So let's just stay here. It could have not worked out, but it did, and it didn't win us the boat, but it cashed us a check. And anytime I can go up with a limit on day one and give myself a chance on day two, that I'm happy,
Yeah, and I should regress on what I said about not having people around me that I've learned from, because I feel stupid for saying that now, because I think about my team partner Jerry. I've learned a bunch from him.
Right, but you didn't have somebody when you were a little kid bringing you up, teaching you from this.
Yeah.
These high school kids, Gabe, you'd be so. You know what? Maybe next time we have a Skype meeting, I should let the Tin Horse Monty Skype in too, because you'd be blown away by how prepared they come with notes and questions written down, ready to ask, and they're the right questions. These two kids, their dad's not a bass fisherman at all. That's why he reached out to me. But he is a dad that's a good dad that went out and bought a bass boat and reached out to me and is doing all the right things to get his kids what their dream is, to go fish in college and then get a marketing degree and try to be a professional fisherman. I think that's both of these kids' goal. And their dad's cool enough both of their dads to go out and get a boat. And, I think one dad fishes a little bit more than the other, but they've never been like tournament fishermen or anything. They bass fished a little bit, and that's the whole other thing. If you're just going out fishing and trying to catch a few bass, that's one thing. Tournament fishing is a whole nother ball game. You're not going out trying to just catch bass. You're trying to go out and catch 5 big bass. At least that's the format I fish, but I guess the new formats are different. But so I'm always confident that, when Al asked me on day one, how'd you catch it? When I said a jig, and he was like, really? And I was like, that's the only thing I know how to do, dude. So that's the only thing I know how to do good. And if I get around fish, I promise you that's what I'm going to try. I'm going to try to make that work. And, anybody that knows me knows that I'm not lying, because I had a couple guys come up and say, did you really catch him on a jig? I was like, well, I told Greg when we got back to the room, that guy didn't fucking know me very well, does he? Of course I did.
Yeah, you should ask me.
Yeah. You see this boat I'm getting in? Should just call it jig, because that's the reason I got that boat. It wasn't from throwing a square bill. I'll promise you that. If I had to win it throwing a square bill, I wouldn't have won it.
Yeah, David says if you want it, go get it. That's just kind of how it is. You got to jump in. And then Chris is asking if I like the USA Basket tournaments. He's heard mixed reviews. It's been great. I mean, the ones that I fished in, I fished the ones over at Cedar Lake. I fished them in Egypt, and I think I fished Kincaid before.
I'll say I may be getting into them next year. So.
Yeah. The thing I like about them, Chris, is they're $60 a derby. So it's $30 a person. It's a $30 annual membership.
That's a tournament you can afford to not practice for.
It doesn't hurt so bad. And
if you had to work up till tournament day and didn't get a chance to practice,
yeah, you just go.
I'll gamble that much money to think that I can go out and catch them. Yeah,
right. And then they've got a side pot. It's $20. The side pot pays maybe 2 big bass and then maybe first and second place. So if you just win one, like we won last year, we won 3 of them. This year we got big bass in one, and we had another check. This year wasn't that good of a season for us, but we've still got enough money from those 3 that we won in 2019 to pay for like 4 more tournaments. So we fished all of 2019, all of 20 on the winnings from winning those 3. And then we got supplemented again by getting the big bass. So that's what I'm saying is it's affordable. It's not like you're dropping $4,000 on a tournament. As far as how it's ran and stuff, it seems to be run just fine. I mean, I don't know if there's any shenanigans that go on. I'm not.
Well, people got to keep in mind those tournament organizations have to make a little money too, because it ain't free to run one of those. I mean, they put in some work.
Yeah, the tournament directors get a little cut of.
You have to let them get a piece, or that why else would they do it?
Right.
Or else somehow they wrangled up some sponsors, or own a small business that they're using that as their advertising or something. But, Anglers in Action, it pays out well, but they got quite a production. They got a trailer, they got a team of people that they have to, so all those tournaments got to make a little money, I mean,
and Angler's Choice is another one that's around here locally.
I've heard good things about that.
That seems to be a pretty solid. Ron fishes the Angler's Choice on Egypt, and my buddy Jonathan fishes the one on Cedar. I haven't gotten into those yet. They're a little bit more expensive.
But they're still not bad. I think they're like $110 or something. They're not horrible.
So $75 a head, which is still not bad at all.
Yeah. It's not much more. That's not Anglers in Action. I think we're 185 or 190 a team, something like that. Now
Right.
the web thing was $300, but that was a 2-day tournament, and that's a solo, so that's out of your own pocket. But still, I mean, the payout's really good in that. And honestly, the $300 does keep the competition down to usually 75 to 95 boats. I think, you don't get it. And a lot of guys don't like the whole solo. They like to do the team thing. But I enjoy the solo format myself. I enjoy the team thing too. The Pro-Am this year, we got lucky. It was really good too with everybody that we drew.
That's one of the things that's kind of cool about the 9-9 Bass Club. A lot of times it's we don't have enough boaters or enough non-boaters, so some of the tournaments you get to fish by yourself, which is kind of cool. You're just more loose, more free. You can run around the lake. Although it is nice if you have a good team partner, that's definitely a bonus. Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you get to pick your partner over there, right? With the U.S. Bassins.
Yeah. Yep.
But you can only have one partner all year, correct?
No, you can have a sub.
One sub.
Yeah, I think you can have one sub.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's always nice to have a net man too. I learned fishing the solos, or else I'm fishing a jerk bait. I don't even unstrap the net. I mean, I'll unstrap it in case something crazy happens over a dock or something. But I don't even try to land the fish with a net by myself. I've had too many fish get off when I go to get the net and put a little slack in the line. I break concentration on keeping the line tight.
I do a lot of boat swinging.
I do a lot of boat swinging, but now with the single console, I do a lot of setting down in the passenger seat, and bringing the fish to me and just lipping it or just manhandling it. But I'm a sissy when it comes to jerk baits in their mouth. I get that net out for those, but
yeah,
I just don't want to go to the emergency room.
Yeah, I hear you. No doubt about that.
And you can't boat flipping with 8-pound test and a jerk bait. It's just not real smart. So
Chris Gates says that's spot on about Uncle Gerald. The best fishermen and hunters learn a lot on their own. Usually it shows a determination which equates to time on the water or woods. Well said. And
yeah,
David, I think that's Boo. He says, if you've lost fishing for fun, then you have lost all that is important. I can agree with that, man.
I don't disagree with it. I just have to buy my time on when I can go fishing, and it's usually for tournaments. So
right.
Not that I haven't done my share of fun fishing, because I have, and I wish I had time to do more. And same thing, Gabe, once my kids are out of school, I'll be doing a lot more fun fishing. Hopefully I'll be doing it right off my own dock at Lake of the Ozarks at some point.
God, you guys are making me feel old.
The plan is to, now I'm working remotely now. The plan is to get me a little, I don't care if it's a camper, whatever it is, it's down there and just go fishing a lot.
Yeah.
So I can still have fun and practice. I'm not all business.
We got Morris and Sons custom baits in here.
Yeah. What's up, dude?
We got Toogie. Man, I never know how to say your name, dude. He's been working on. He's been having some boat issues too. I think he got them lined out. He had an older motor that is one of those deals where he thought he had it fixed, and he'd go out and something was messed up. And then he thought he had it fixed.
Get underneath the load.
Yeah,
that's usually what'll do it.
I think he's got it all lined out though.
Stuff with that, and just keep it on the trailer and pull it down in the water and start it. Don't even take it off. Bring your tools with you. I've learned the hard way.
Yeah, Chasing Little Greenfish says U.S. Angler's Choice is legit. They give out 3 boats at the championship. Yep, they're down there right now.
That is legit. What brand? Who's sponsoring them? Chasing Little Greenfish.
I don't know. Honestly, he would know.
It used to be like Legend at one time, but
I don't know if it's Ranger. They're at Chick right now. I'm pretty sure they're at Chick.
Ranger's who's sponsoring or is sponsoring Anglers in Action.
Holy cow!
Oh no, that's the USA Bassin. I think there's
Bass
a big tournament trail down there right now.
Chasing the greenfish at Bass Cat. So
Okay, Bassin.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's nice.
Cat.
New Bass Cat dealership going in Osage Beach with the Camus dealer, the Bass Works.
Yeah, give it time. I'm sure Vexus will be all over the place too. That's one boat I'd have a hard time spending $100,000 on one of their boats when it just came out. I've heard nice of what I've heard, but
it's the old Ranger, guys. You'll be fine.
Yeah, it's quality, but it is pricey. I saw one. We were looking at one down there in Pickwick. We got to. That's a cool thing about that Toyota Owners Tournament is a lot of guys bring their boats up there.
Yeah, you'll see a '78 Ranger and a 2020 Vexus.
Yeah, it's everything in between.
Yeah.
And you can just kind of. It's like walking out on a used car lot. You can just walk down there and look at everything. It's pretty.
We've
cool.
seen a guy with I think it was a local down there in an old Gambler. I think he said it was, 12 years. No, it wasn't that old. 9 years old, 10 years old. And just curious. I was like, how fast that thing run? He goes, 86. I was like, whoa, Jesus. Drive me.
Yeah.
I tell you what, since I had my boat rebuilt and everything, I was telling Gabe, it's got all kinds of power now. But I tell you what, it does not have the top end like it used to. I bet I've lost probably 10 miles an hour.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
You sure you don't need a different prop with all that power, maybe?
It may be. I could touch 70 with it before. And about 60, 61 is about all I get out of it now. Now, I haven't got it out and trimmed it up way up there. And
you had the whole top end rebuilt?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it'll just take a little bit to break. It's 2-stroke?
It's a Mercury. It's a 200 DFI. So
yeah, 2-stroke. So it might just take. How long ago was that when you had it rebuilt?
Back in.
It's been several months, probably.
Yeah, probably.
It's still pretty fresh.
Yeah, it's. Still,
I was gonna say it may come around yet.
So did you see Toogie? I'm gonna say that.
Yeah,
1958.
Yeah,
10 horsepower motor.
Yeah.
That is.
He said it works great now.
That's vintage.
That's cool, man. That's probably the size of mine.
It's freaking cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember how big those things used to be?
Yeah.
Remember back when Mercury used to add a 0 to everything? The 15 horse said 150 and way back in the day. It was funny.
Yeah. I remember.
Now you're making me feel young again.
I remember
like this.
I used to have an O. Johnson Seahorse. It was like a 7.
Oh, yeah. The Seahorse.
Yeah,
the big ones.
Yeah.
Remember the Chrysler outboards? Those big old Chrysler outboards?
I remember seeing those. Yeah. Sears had their own.
Yep.
Too.
I'm trying to think. I gave Tackle Junkies buddy. I'm trying to think of his name. He's got a YouTube channel. He doesn't do a whole lot on it, but he's a collector. He collects all kinds of old motors and everything. And I had 2 old motors. One was from Sears. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It started with the E. I don't know.
There was a bunch and
Elgin.
An Elgin.
There was
it
was like an Elgin 2.5 horsepower motor or something like that.
Like a sailboat motor or something for probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not surprising. I still am blown away that Evinrude is no more. That was the staple when I was a kid. That was the boat motor that was on every boat at the Bassmaster Classic and, back when Ranger and Evinrude were the thing.
I like that G2. My buddy Jerry, that's what he's got on his Ranger. And it's
they're quiet. They're fast.
I think that's what I'm trying to think what my buddy Dwayne had. I want to say it was an Evinrude, but it was a 4-stroke. And I swear up and down to this day, we were sitting in the marina idling, and I kept asking. I said, "What is that humming?" He goes, "I don't know what you're talking." I said, "There's something humming." He goes, "Well, the motor's running." I said, "Oh, whatever. There ain't no freaking way." And I turned around, and I think it was back there pissing. I'm like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah, they're quiet.
And even taking off. It was just so smooth and quiet, and I'm like, "Holy cow!"
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of good things about the new Suzuki outboard too. It's been around a couple of years. A lot of guys on the Elite Series running those Suzukis now. Think about it. Suzuki's been building bulletproof motorcycle motors forever. I don't know why they.
Oh, their small motors are phenomenal. It's
Suzuki
and Tohatsu are the 2 motors that you want on these 10 horsepower.
Yeah, and I think they got the 250s figured out now too. So.
Yeah. Tom says you might have some water soaked up in your phone. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been back down to the dealer quite a few times since then, and the water separator and everything, and SVT tank, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, old bass boats will get heavy. You're right, Gabe.
Yeah, but they've drained them out and everything. So I mean, there hasn't been any water in it, but I think like these guys said, I think it's just not broke in yet. It's the
Right.
problem.
That very well could be.
Like I said, that thing on the lower end, I mean, you want to talk about takeoff. I mean, it's got a hole shot that's unbelievable. I've never had a hole shot like that. So,
yeah. And, you know, honestly, I'd rather have that hole shot in the mid range than the top end anyway. In the long run.
Yeah, I don't care for. I'm telling you, when I hit 70 in that boat before, we were down at Kentucky Lake, and that thing was walking across the water, and I didn't want no part of that anymore.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, taking all these channel swings and stuff at Table Rock, that mid range is what you want. You know, where you come flying right up in there and back out of it a little bit, trim the motor back down, and make that corner and get back on it and trim it back up. I mean, you want that getting back up and going thing, you know. So
yeah, you need that for rough water too. I mean, that's very, very important.
Absolutely. And getting out of the hole with a bunch of fish in your live well, right?
That's right. So you like your 4-stroke, right?
Oh, I love it, man. It's an absolute monster. And the coolest thing about it's just the initial start.
Yeah.
And then it quiets down. It's not real noisy, is it, Gabe? But it's pretty loud when you start it, but it's way quieter than a 2-stroke for sure.
It's a head turner. I like the power of, you know, we're talking 2 totally different motors. Of course, you know, I've got a 9.9, but it's a 4-stroke. My old motor was a 2-stroke, and it's a completely different motor.
Yep.
Different motor under a load.
I was gonna say, sounds like somebody's running their cordless drill down the lake.
Yeah, well, it's under a load is where that for on these smaller motors, that's where the 4-stroke, in my opinion, outperforms that 2-stroke.
Absolutely.
It holds the RPM up on a heavier load.
Yep.
You know, if you're fishing out of if you got a 10 horse motor, and you put 2 people in there and all your tournament gear, that 2-stroke, unless you've had a lot of work done to it and got it all and everything's distributed a lot, you'll lose 5-6 miles an hour. But now with the 4-stroke, I'm only losing about 2 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot on a 10 horse, you know, small boat. You know, 1 mile an hour is huge for the little boats that we run. You know, when you're talking a 250 horsepower motor, 1 mile an hour is not that big.
You ought to see what happened if you take Jerry's lunch out of that boat. All the sandwiches in there.
He'd get hangry, man. No, we got pretty dialed in now. So before we get off here, what do you got coming up? You got any more winter tournaments or anything? You got the Angler Action Team stuff?
I got the Anglers in Action. We're going to do the Turkey. It used to be the Turkey Day Challenge. Now it's the Maria Memorial. The day after Thanksgiving, or not the day after, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And that's a cool tournament. That's the one they pay out 25 big bass and 25 heavy bags. So that's kind of fun because, you know, you may not cash a check in the 5 fish thing, but you might cash 2 checks in the big bass if you catch the 2 right ones, you know. So, and if you win the thing, the more than likely you're going to win it and win 1 or 2 of the big fish on the 25 biggest fish side of things.
That's a cool hybrid tournament.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that idea.
And everybody, you'll see, I don't know, one year I think there's a 2 or 3 Bassmaster Classic Championships qualifiers, 3 or 4 All-American guys, because all those guys at Lake of the Ozarks are home over the holidays. You know, used to be sometimes, you know, Chad Brower would be there and all the Hibdons and, you know, all the Tom Maloney and the guys that have Marcus, well, he's always there anyway, but guys that have made the All-Americans and Casey Scanlon, James Watson, guys like that are off the road and home. They usually come up and fish that. So it's pretty cool. You know, I think Rick Clun was there last year.
Rick
Clun came up. I don't think I'm not sure if I talked to him at the weigh-in and I wanted to talk about fishing more than how he did, but I'm not sure if he was fishing or if he was there with his bass fishing team. He coaches the Ava high school bass fishing team. So Ava, Missouri, but he was there at the weigh-in for sure. And Casey Scanlon, like I said, James Watson and all the Hibdons are usually, you know, everybody's home for Thanksgiving that lives around that area. 1 year, Brent Chapman and his dad came up and fished it. You know, Brent lives there in Kansas So, everybody's home for Thanksgiving. They're not out on the road fishing, so they come out and fish that tournament. It's just a lot of fun. And I imagine with it being the first annual Marie Memorial, it'll probably be even bigger than normal.
Yeah. Is that an unlimited field?
I think so. Like I've been there when they had like 180, 190 boats.
Mm-hmm.
So the payout in those top 25 spots will be pretty good. And I tell you what, Al, the MC, man, Big Al is just getting better and better all the time as the MC of those Anglers in Action. He takes it super serious and he does an outstanding job. I see. Well, he's got that whole professional tournament series they're starting.
Yeah, the NPFL.
Yeah.
Yep. That's coming up next year.
And Al's just a stud at doing the MC. I mean, I could see him having if that doesn't work out for him, that whole thing, I could see him at some point doing FLW or MLF or FLW or BASS. He's that good.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's knowledgeable and super personable guy. He doesn't forget people's names. He knows your names when you walk up to the tank. So, he's that kind of guy, which is what you need.
That type of guy.
Hey, have you seen any of Mercer and
Me either.
Duncan together? What are they calling that?
Oh gosh,
low life and the MC or something like that, or
I know what you're talking about. I haven't seen it yet.
LD and the MC. That's what it's called.
Right.
It's pretty entertaining. It's pretty lighthearted, and both of those guys are pretty funny guys. So you got a Canuck and a guy from Tennessee. It's pretty good stuff. Luke Duncan's like a virus, man. He kind of grows on you. Or
sometimes you leave his show thinking he's just a big baby and he's trying to stir it up, but you typically.
I think he might be, but that's all right. We need that, right? I mean, we need that kind of stuff, calling attention to that. I think it's good.
LD and the MC,
and he doesn't. It's not like he's coming from a place where he doesn't know, man. He's been around the industry at DH Marine for a long time, so.
Yeah, he definitely knows what's going on. He's inside.
Oh, yeah.
DJ's seen Chapman on Mark Twain quite a few times back when we fished the Red Man tourneys. So,
and how smart is it for him to use his own song as his intro?
You can't get it out of your head now.
I cannot get it out of my head. I find myself singing along with him with the intro all the time.
Yeah,
this highway. Yeah.
I know my name.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I've never met a riverboat dealer I never met a riverboat dealer I liked or I trusted or I forget what it is. But he's like, Luke always say, I have not.
3 guitars in the spare.
Yeah.
And he had a really good band. I've always wanted to, if I was ever to make contact with him, I want to ask him about the band members and what happened to that. Because if you listen to what he was singing over, they're straight up Nashville sounding band. I mean, they're It's like somebody intro the bass, how the bass and the guitar work together in that intro. It's brilliant. It
sounded like somebody might have paid for him to go down to Nashville and record it, and somebody put a band together to do
That's
it.
kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know if that's the house, if that's his band or if that's a house band. I'm almost thinking that's a studio band because they're pretty good. They were
very tight.
Yeah.
But producers can do a lot too. So
that could ever be a friend of mine. That's what kayak fishing.
Yeah, they can never be a friend of mine.
Yep. It's good stuff, man.
Yeah. And I love the big Kool-Aid guy in the background. Those stories.
Yeah.
We gotta get some new background now. Took the TV down.
Oh, you did? I just noticed. Yeah. What are you thinking? What are you thinking to go back there? You need to go on like a big elk hunt or something, Greg, and get you a big elk head back there or something.
A bison head would be perfect.
I don't think we'd fit in here though.
A bison with a cigar in its mouth with the Mardi Gras beads. That'd be fitting.
We have a stuffed raccoon downstairs we could throw up there.
There you go.
Which my dog, my pit hates that thing.
I bet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Met a riverboat dealer that could be a friend of mine. Yeah, that song gets in your head. It's
a great song, man. It really is. I don't know how much of that he even does anymore. If he goes out and does any gigs or.
He's been working on a new album for 10 years, I think. He keeps saying he's writing songs and stuff. I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard any of his other stuff either. I don't know if it's on Spotify.
It is. It's on Google Play. I know. I downloaded the album. It's pretty decent, man.
Yeah, Greg's been working on him for about a year to get him on here. So
yeah, kind of gave up.
Hey, all of the backyard bassin and Tin Horse Monty guys start Facebooking or texting LD and see if we can get him on here.
There you go. That's what we need.
We'll do it. We'll do a 3-way here.
Yeah.
I reached out to him and told him about Ethan, about the old Buck Nasty, the old Ranger. I was like, if you ever want to do a boats and pros up here, I'm sure Ethan would loan you the old, you know how he always does it out of an older boat. I said he could come use it out of the old Ranger. And,
I think that might be old, but I think you kept it in too good a shape. It had too many options on it.
That's true.
Yeah, dude. That thing had just about everything you could put on there.
Yeah, oxygenators, 3 HDSs, power poles, jump switch. Yeah, it was pretty tricked out.
Yeah, it was nice. It wasn't your average relic. That's for sure.
No, it was not. It was not. It had even had a stereo in it. So
yeah, I had some good times in that. The downside was that dual console for a guy that's 6'2". Other than that, it was great. It's pretty. I never worried about flying out of the boat because I knew someone would catch me before I flew out.
Yeah. Plus, that old Ranger's stable as the day is long, man.
Yeah.
I swear to you that some of the newer boats, we'd hit rough water and I'd catch up to them because that old thing would just keep plowing through it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that old heavy Ranger would just keep on keeping on.
Yeah, you had it down. You knew how to drive it.
Yeah, that's the thing. You've been in a boat. I had that boat for 20 years.
Wow.
So, you know, I don't know how many different electronics I had on that thing over the years. At least 7 or 8. I think I had an Eagle way back in the day, the original like Eagle LCD.
Dude, I took an Eagle off my.
I had an Eagle, man. I bumped up to like the 480, man. That was like the 480.
Yeah, I think. Well,
I still had a flasher in it originally too. I had a flasher in it, and
yeah,
I don't remember.
480 by 480 pixels.
Yeah,
mine was 7.
It looked like almost one of those handheld video games back in the day.
Yeah, but it was
5-inch. I remember that.
It was 5-inch.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started fishing Lake of the Ozarks, I had a handheld Lowrance black and white GPS because my boat didn't have GPS, and I was trying to learn how to run up the Gravway in a rainstorm with that in one hand and the wheel in the other.
Yeah,
like running up through I had some spots marked on that GPS because I thought I was big crap because I could load the CD into my PC and then get on there and program waypoints and hook some cables up. And it took like 5 minutes to load it into that little handheld unit so I could go find those spots.
Hey, I put in at Wapapello a couple years ago, and the guy I was with didn't have GPS. We were in his boat, and we put in at Shiona, and we ran up the river. I don't know if you know anything about Wapapello. Mm-hmm. It's similar to Truman. You get out and you're in 2 foot of water. It's a mud flat. There's not a whole lot of room for error. But I ran off of my Navionics app on my phone. I was just sitting there and watching the little boat, and I'm like, okay, you need to kind of scoot over to the left. You know, we're in a bend right now. Stay over to the right, and we ran a 1.5 miles up, maybe 2 miles up the river, just on my phone. And
that's funny, man.
Yeah, it was sketchy, though. It was sketchy because you don't know how accurate it is, and luckily the water was up enough that we were okay.
Yeah, they're pretty accurate, really, these days.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because this weekend Greg never had an issue in practice, but come tournament day, when I started panicking and running around, there was a couple times that I was coming into those trees at 70 miles an hour, and he reached over and was like, trees, trees, trees. I'm like, dude, I got this. I'm not just going to run through those trees, man. I'm going to slide this thing sideways, and we're going to go that way. So hold on.
I drew a local down there at Truman in the Federation State Tournament. It was one of those times when I jumped in that club with you guys for a couple of years, and the guy was a local, like I said, and he was running balls to the walls across those stump flats, like 4 foot of water, stumps 5 feet from the boat on both sides, just going. And what can you do? I mean, you got to let it happen. It's like being up in an airplane. You just got to relax and let it happen. There's nothing you can do. But man,
where were you at again? Was that at Truman?
Truman, man. Woo. We were back. I can't remember which river we were in.
There's the Osage, the Grand, and the Tebow.
It was the Tebow. Yep, it was the Tebow. We were back in there, and we were just running across those flat points that had stumps on them.
He's probably got a trail mark through there, I would hope. Or he's got a line.
I think he did. I mean, he had to have.
Yeah. I have some of that stuff marked in some places, but for the most part, I just stay in the channel, you know.
Yeah.
Because me and Greg were idling through this at Cedar Creek off of the South Grand, and it was 35 foot of water. And the next thing I know, Greg is like, what's going on? And we just like climbed up on a stump and then came down off of it, you know, and we're in 35 feet of water.
Yeah.
So if you just thought you could run because it was 35 feet deep, you'd be sadly mistaken. Or else you knew exactly where you were going. And even then, I'm good. You know, I'm going to idle out till I get in the channel and then go. That's the quickest way to ruin your weekend. If you're not 100% sure, ain't worth it.
You get a floater. You get a floater that breaks loose and it gets hung up against some other logs. You may have ran that little path for 20 years, and then all of a sudden there's a lay down across that little path.
Yeah,
you never know.
The first time I fished the Elite Series as a no, I was marshalling this time, and I was with Todd Faircloth, and we came up at oh my God, it's up on the Mississippi River, not La Crosse. I'm not going to remember the name of the place. Fort Collins, maybe Fort. Anyway, it's a Mississippi River, and we're in the backwaters, and we come around the corner, and there's a flotilla of boats with everybody with their hat off, and I think Alton Jones was leading a prayer because I forget who it was. I think it was Derek Remitz. I think who it was. He came through this spot and caught a log and slipped the boat sideways and threw this dude way up onto the shore.
Holy crap!
And it was funny, but it wasn't funny. Swindle comes out with a little bit of blood on him. And they're in the middle of this prayer, and he's like, "That guy's a freaking wreck, man. We need to get an ambulance." And luckily, we were close to a duck club, and they were able to get an ambulance in close enough to get the guy out of there. But it probably threw him 30, 40 feet up onto the bank. He was pretty banged up. He caught, just like you're saying, Gabe, there was a log that wasn't attached to the bottom, but it was caught up on a stump, and Derek caught that with his motor, and it just flipped the boat sideways off the bank and up into the woods that dude went. You know, because I'm sure he was coming through there hot. I don't know if he was going wide open or what, but it doesn't take, even if you're going 50, 60 mile an hour, it's going to get ugly quick. You know?
Yeah, we had the guy, the UPS driver that got killed a couple years ago. He was on Kentucky Lake. Yeah, he was coming underneath the bridge. And
he wasn't driving.
No, he wasn't driving. That's right. He was a passenger.
He was the co-angler.
But they hit a rock and bank, a cable.
It was a cable between piling, what it was.
Okay, and the motor broke loose from the back of the boat and hit him. That was it. So
come all the way into the back.
Stuff happens.
Holy cow! The motor came up and over.
Yep,
hit him.
Yep, and he run ahead.
Yep. So crazy times.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's a. Yeah.
Tom says 9:10 p.m. He's got the little sleepy sign. I don't know, or happy sign, but we need to get out there, I think.
Yeah, probably. Everybody looks like everybody's
getting talk all night, man. I mean, but
I'm taking the family down to the basement to the new TV. We're almost done down there. TV's hooked up, and we're going to go watch the latest episode of The Mandalorian.
Have you guys watched Gilmore Girls yet?
No. Okay. I have not.
You'll like it, man. Try it.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Check it out.
Like that old TV series?
Yeah, it's from like 2006 or something. Yeah, it's
a family thing?
Try a couple episodes. It's
all right.
It's PG. It's good for the little kids.
That's what. Yeah, it's a family thing, right? You can watch
it's fun. It's entertaining.
I remember that back when it was like a primetime show, right?
It might have been. I don't know. It's on Netflix now. I mean, I was listening to Jocko podcast, and there was some guys. He was talking to some dude that was stationed in Iraq, and after they would go on their patrols and their missions and stuff, they would all get in the wherever
the fob they call it, I think, or the top,
whatever it is, but where they had access to entertainment, and they'd watch Gilmore Girls. I'm like, what the heck?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so you got these tough soldiers that are out there shooting terrorists and stuff, and they come back and they watch Gilmore Girls at night to relax.
Like Chris said, you're talking Golden Girls.
No, not Golden Girls, man. No, we're not going that far back.
So how much do you listen to? Quite a bit of Jocko?
A little bit, yeah.
Enough to get this. Then he's got a new T-shirt club where you pay a monthly fee and you just get a new exclusive T-shirt just for club members.
Okay.
And the first one for December just cracks me up if you know Jocko at all, like his personality. So there's like 12 pictures of Jocko across the front, and there's the different emotions: angry, confused, upset, sad, and every one of them's the exact same picture, the exact same expression. Because can you imagine him being your SEAL team leader and you don't know if he's angry or confused or or happy or excited. I forget it. Yeah. So for your guys that are listening out there, just look up Jocko T-shirt Club and look at that shirt. It cracks me up, man.
Yeah.
That's so him. Like he never changes expressions.
So if Jocko's your sergeant, you just err on the side of yes, sir, no matter what.
I think you just do the right thing and you'll be all right. I think that's
he's a pretty straight dude. I mean,
yeah. Theo Vaughn, the comedian, had him on his podcast, and like it was so funny because Theo was a little bitty kind of a ratty, kind of an old cokehead. He's like an old crazy, but he's since sober, and he's kind of scatterbrained. He's all over the place, and he's asking. You can tell he's nervous talking to Jocko, and Jocko's sitting there with the same expression on his face. And it's like 15 minutes in, he goes, "Man, I don't know if you're just going to get up and pull my head off or what's going on here, man. I'm nervous as hell." And that's the only time he cracked a smile. It's like, yeah. I think when you're that confident that you can get up and rip somebody's head off, then that's the look that you got all the time. There's no reason to show your hand at all. There's no bluff, and there's a confidence that, yeah.
Right.
Because Theo was asking him, like, he goes, "So you've been doing jujitsu forever and ever, like, so I could last 3 or 4 minutes if we went at it, we rolled around in jujitsu?" And he was like, "So how much jujitsu training have you done?" He was like, "Well, I've never done it." He was like, he just smiled and said, "I don't think that's going to happen, dude." He said, "You might have 30 seconds if you're lucky before you're going to be tapping or I'm going to choke you unconscious and lay you on the ground."
Yeah.
That's if the guy's 130 pounds and knows jujitsu, but when he's 245 pounds of muscle, they had another special forces guy on there that got in there and rolled with Jocko, and he lasted quite a while. And when they asked him what it was like, he said it was like rolling with a sweaty piece of mahogany. I could not do anything with it. It was just like a big piece of wood that I couldn't do anything with. It was just solid as a rock, and there's nothing I could do with it. It's funny because my son just started high school wrestling this year, and you've met my son Miles. He's about 6'1" and about 245, 21 years old, solid as a rock. He has a friend of his that's 135-pound high school, all 4 years, and now collegiate wrestler. And Miles challenges him every time. And Miles says, "I last about 30 seconds," and he's got me on the ground and basically begging for mercy. Wow. He's like, he's just around me like a spider monkey, and I don't even know what the hell just happened.
I've boxed people before that were a lot smaller than me, but knew what they were doing, and they will light you up, man.
Yeah,
they know the angles, they know how to slip the glove in between
right.
gloves, and next thing you know, you're trying to chase them down and beat them up, and you got a bloody nose.
Right. Well, that's what I told Miles. You're wrestling. If it was a bar fight and you could just grab him by the neck and suplex his ass, it'd be a different story. But yeah. Or you, Gabe, if you got mad and wanted to hurt the guy, if you're at your size, if you're just legitimately boxing, yeah. If you bum rushed him and got on top of him, he'd be in a world of trouble. But yeah,
right. Boxing is just right here.
Yeah.
It's a little square.
Well, if you're boxing a good boxer, you best watch those ribs and gut because he's going to let you have it there too. And then you're going to be you're not going to have any wind left at all. Mm-hmm. I know if they hit my fat butt in the solar plexus, it's game over.
Yep.
Especially a guy that knows how to plant his heel and twist his hips, you're pretty much hosed.
Shot in the liver, the kidney shot, it's game over.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Well, hey, man, this has been a blast as always, man. I love what you guys are doing.
Yep. We'll do it again soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, let's definitely do that.
A monthly deal now, so.
Well, if you do get Luke Duncan on, let me be on with you. That'd be a blast. And definitely everybody that's listening tonight, I'm going to send him an email. Everybody send him an email. I'm going to reach out to all my Facebook friends, tell them to send an email to Luke. Yeah, let's make it happen. I think Luke would be game. I really do. He just probably gets inundated with so much messages and emails and stuff.
He can give 10 minutes of his time, get on here and talk about the NPFL. And
right.
I'd like to ask him about his song, about his music and stuff, really.
Well, maybe that's the approach we take. Hey, we want to talk a little fishing, but we want to probe you about your music. Yeah, that's the approach we should take because he probably doesn't get that enough.
We can all sing the song together.
Mm-hmm.
Work out 4-part harmonies and put it on TikTok and take over the world.
Heck yeah.
I'll bring my boy's guitar in here and Gabe can play with him.
My son's taking high school guitar. How cool is that they got high school guitar lessons?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right, man. Thanks, guys.
We're doing that Midwest goodbye where it just keeps on going.
Yeah.
Yeah, there, eh? All right, man.
Wait.
See you, bro.
See you.